Good morning. It is February 8th, 2024. This is episode 71. Yes, of the Paul Green comedy PaulCast. I hope you are all doing well. This is a podcast for dreamers by a dreamer. I am a stand-up comedian actor living in the Phoenix area, currently hustling and grinding in the comedy entertainment space to go for my dreams. Yesterday, I had an amazing conversation. If you haven't checked it out, you should definitely check that out. It is with Down Rouse, who was my official dream manager when I worked for a company called Infusionsoft, now called Keep. And they had in their employ a full-time dream manager. And he helped all of us follow our dreams. And he was very influential in my life. And I am so grateful for him and so glad that I had an opportunity to have him on the podcast yesterday and have a chat about this whole idea of dreams in general, dreams specifically. It's just such a fascinating thing to me. I mean, it just seems like every human being has something. There's something that they want, something that they wish was an element of their life, which is currently not. And if they had a magic wand, they would wave it and have that thing be a part of their life. So, it's really fascinating. One of the things that I remember him talking about when I was working with him, whenever that was almost 10 years ago now. I guess it's been closer to 9 years ago. Is he did this graphic. So he drew a circle on a whiteboard and he just said, all right, everything that you experience in your life is in this circle. How much money you make, your relationships, your hobbies, your joys, your sadnesses, your successes, your failures, all of that is in this circle. And he said the element of dreaming is there are things currently that are outside of this circle. In other words, things that are not a part of your life that you would desire to be a part of your life. And he said, and you can just scatter plot all of these different elements, and he just did as dots, right? So there's dots outside of this circle. And he said, really, dreaming is nothing more than expanding your circle so that those dots that were once outside of the circle are now inside of the circle. And of course, the idea is once that circle gets bigger, then it also increases the capacity for more dreams to be incorporated. And then as you go for the next thing that's outside of that circle, it expands even more and expands even more. And ultimately, the idea is to expand that circle as big as you can to make it large enough to accommodate as many dreams as possible, or as many dreams as you desire. And there is something to be said for a content life. So I'm constantly counterbalancing my dreams, my desires, my ambition for bigger and bigger and greater things with an increased contentment and gratitude for what is right now. And I'm always trying to stay right in that sweet spot of, yes, there are things that I desire that I think would be incredible to experience that I have not yet experienced, that are not part of my life experience, that are not in that circle. But at the same time, I am seeking to also be 100% content and grateful for the circle, for everything that is. And I think that that is the trick. And the ironic thing is, the more that I am grateful for the circle, my life, my default life right now, my life as is in this reality with all of its different elements, my job satisfaction, my hobby satisfaction, my dream pursuit satisfaction, my financial satisfaction, spiritual, emotional, relationship, metaphysical, philosophical, to be completely content and grateful for all of that, while also simultaneously holding space for ambition and expansion, and for greater, and for an increase, for abundance, for all of that fun stuff. And those two things I'm finding actually are not mutually exclusive for me, as much as it seems like both of those elements could not exist at the same time. It's like, well, if you're content, then you're not going to strive. You're not going to be ambitious. You're not going to try to do anything. You're just going to sit around, keeping the status quo. And I can see that, and I can see why that might be a concern, or why that would be true for some people. Where at the same time, I think if you're ambitious and you're constantly trying to grow and look for something bigger, more income, more opportunities, bigger social network, whatever that is, then it seems like anybody in that state of mind couldn't possibly be content with how their life is. And I don't think that that's true, as much as it may seem like, again, they're mutually exclusive. I love being fully ambitious as I can be, to expand on my dreams, to go for big goals, while simultaneously being totally content with how things are and happy and joyful in the moment, and grateful for the moment. And that's the balance. And I'm not saying I get it right all the time. Sometimes I'm a little too content and maybe not as ambitious. And sometimes maybe I'm a little too ambitious and maybe not spending enough time smelling the roses as it were. But I think that is the game. At least for me, that's where the game is. So anyway, that's where I'm at. So grateful for Dan Rouse for coming out as my dream manager. And I had a really fun day yesterday. I was able to do that film shoot, which was super fun. Man, it's just so cool to get to book anything. Even though it's small, this isn't a major production as far as I could tell. I'm not getting rich off the thing. But just the fact that somebody had sifted through so many actors and landed upon me, and I just got to tell you what they were asking me to do. And again, I can't go into a lot of detail. It was a very, I'll just say it was a very out there type of character. Whatever character you think I would get cast as, it was nothing like that on purpose. They were intentionally casting me to be in complete contrast to who you think that character would be, what they would look like, and behave and all of that. By design, that's what they wanted. They said, if we wanted to cast what most people, like mainstream media, would think this character would cast, we would have cast somebody who doesn't look, act, or have the same mannerisms or the same background or the same status as you. And they go, and that's why we did it. We purposefully did that. So it put me in a very interesting situation to where I actually am being asked to act. Like, totally act like somebody else who isn't you at all. And I had so much fun. And I'm just thinking, how incredible is it that, I'm on this journey. It just seems like nothing's ever going to happen. It's so much grind and so much work. And then yet just this small little production company plucks me out of the ether, and I show up and I'm like, I am the perfect actor for what these guys need. I know exactly how to play this character, which is so not even me. I know how to pull it off. And I got the script the day of. It was 4 pages of dialogue. All of the dialogue was very tricky for me. Again, it's totally cast against type, so I'm using certain mannerisms. The way it was written was very slang in the context of this character, so I'm not really speaking even normal English. I'm speaking a highly stereotypical accent and idiosyncratic type of dialogue within this character type. And I memorized the lines as best as I could and just showed up and gave it everything I got. And it wasn't an impressive film set. It was literally at some dude's apartment who I'd never met yet in Phoenix, they had asked if they could film in his living room. And the crew was 2 dudes. One guy who was producing the whole thing, and he had a pretty nice camera and some audio mics, and he had one LED light on a tripod, and that was the set. There was no real set. I mean, it was just filmed in this guy's living room. He didn't really do anything to really decorate it or anything like that. Very minimal wardrobe. It was just me and one other actor, and so it was just our scene back and forth. And I couldn't be happier. Couldn't be more thrilled that I had that opportunity. While at the same time, am I ambitious for even bigger opportunities? Am I ambitious for movie roles that have a high potential of ending up on a Netflix or ending up on an actual movie screen or on a television network, and where it's a recurring role and it's full production budget? Yeah, I have those ambitions as well, and I'm pursuing those ambitions, while at the exact same time, I am totally content and happy and grateful that I had an opportunity to show up in that context, in a low budget, low production, very little set, and get an opportunity to act and do this role and give everything I can to that role to help that producer have the best production that he can with me as his tour. So that to me is the game. Total ambition, total contentment, totally seeking greater and greater things, while being totally grateful for everything that I do have, which is substantial. So everybody, that's my check-in for today. I know I didn't go as long as I usually do. I actually got quite a bit of stuff to wrap up before I try to go to bed tonight. I am still writing 100 minutes a day. I have also added that I want to do 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and 50 squats a day, which is actually not that hard to do if you break it up during the day. I'm just trying to get in the habit of, doing 10 push-ups here, 10 push-ups there, 20 push-ups here, 20 push-ups there. Throughout the day, it's very doable. So I am working on that goal. I started that yesterday. I only got 50 push-ups and 50 sit-ups, and I think 40 squats. So I didn't quite get it. But that's brand new. And so I'm trying to do all of that while fitting in the 100 minutes, while filming a podcast a day, while posting on social media every day, while also working a full-time job and making sure that I take care of everything that my employer needs me to do. So that is all that I'm up to. That is the update for today, February 8th, 2024, episode 71 of the Paul Green Comedy PaulCast, a podcast for dreamers by a dreamer. I hope you are all doing well. You're following your dreams. You're finding joy and contentment, while also ambition and drive to go and experience the things that you want in your life that are outside of the circle that I talked about up front. And I love you all so much. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful February 8th. Talk to you soon.